Hello everyone, this is Tom Fox. I would like to welcome you to the Sunday Book Review. The Sunday Book Review is the series where I discuss books which impact the compliance practitioner, the legal professional, and the business professional. I hope you will enjoy this episode. The Sunday Book Review for June 6, 2021, the D-Day edition. And our books today come from the bookshelf column of the Wall Street Journal. First up, London War Notes by Mollie Panter-Downes. Downes was hired by the New Yorker to write a 1,500-word cable, and that led to a 45-year relationship with the New Yorker. Her observations of the invasion, or the upcoming invasion, was that every paper carries prophets, hints, and rumors to make Allied plans perfectly plain to Berlin. The traffic was thicker than normal, and most liveliness being contributed by U.S. jeeps. One can sense the city trying to project itself across English orchards and cornfields, across the strip of land to men who were already beginning to die in French orchards and cornfields, which once again became over there. Next up, Pogue's War, Diaries of a World War II Combat Historian. Forrest Pogue was drafted into the Army and assigned as an official historian. He was already a college professor, an experience whose influence is ever present in his war diaries. He talked about the English countryside in April 1944 and how U.S. troops were training. The half-concealed airfields, meadows, tanks, or hid tanks and jeeps. It led to a centuries-old quaintness and looked out across as he looked out across the channel for France. Next up, Other Clay, A Remembrance of World War II Infantry by Charles Cawthon. The weather was unrare English that June, both foul and fair, ready to go either way, as he waited impatiently for D-Day in southern England. A journalist and editor of the Charlotte Daily Progressive, before joining the war, Cawthon joined the Virginia National Guard. 4 years later, he was leading a company of the 116th, known after their Civil War antecedents as the Stonewall Brigade. He reported about Omaha Beach and what he observed being one of the first waves to go over. He also talked about the Navy bombardment that started a fire on the colonnades above the beaches and how that smoke did more for saving men than anything else the U.S. Navy had done. And finally, from the German side of things, Panzer Commander by Hans von Luck. The evening of June 5 was unpleasant. Normandy was showing its bad side. There had been high winds and rain. Luck recalled that German morale was high since Normandy had spoiled the German men with food, cider, and even women. Minutes after midnight, his men were attacked by British paratroopers. His commander pleaded with higher-ups to allow the Panzer divisions to move forward and attack. However, they were not given permission to do so and stayed in their bases, which of course helped contribute greatly to the U.S. success on the first day, because as the Germans held their forces back, believing the real invasion would be at Pas-de-Calais, this helped the Normandy invasion from being attacked from the rear of the German lines. So check out any of these 5 books. Think about the Great Crusade, which happened in 1944. Thank you for listening to the Sunday Book Review. This month on The Compliance Life, I'm featuring Gabe Hidalgo, Managing Director at K2 Integrity, who has one of the most unique journeys to and from the CCO chair. Check out The Compliance Life. From the editor's desk, where, along with Compliance Week Editor-in-Chief Dave Leafort, we take a look at some of the top stories which appear in Compliance Week. I recently premiered Survive and Thrive, a podcast I co-host with Courtney Nordrum. In this podcast series, we take a look at compliance disasters from history and the lessons learned from them, and more importantly, how you can avoid and prevent them going forward. It's a lot of fun, and Courtney's a great co-host, so check it out. Comtech, a podcast on the intersection of compliance and technology, big brains in compliance. And finally, we have the Compliance Handbook, where I take a deep dive exploration into topics related to the nuts and bolts of compliance. Thanks so much for listening.